In 1847, a doctor named Ignaz Semmelweis made one of the most important discoveries in medical history. He was working in a Vienna maternity ward where women were dying at an alarming rate from childbed fever. One ward had a death rate of around 10%. Another, just down the hall, had a death rate of 2%. Same hospital, same disease, completely different outcomes. Semmelweis became obsessed with finding out why. After months of investigation, he found it. Doctors in the high death ward were coming straight from performing autopsies and going directly to deliver babies. Without washing their hands, they were carrying death from the morgue into the delivery room. Semmelweis introduced mandatory hand washing. The death rate dropped almost to zero almost overnight. He had just saved countless lives. And the medical establishment of the time responded by completely ignoring him. Not just ignoring him, actively rejecting him, mocking him, eventually having him committed to a mental institution, where he died at 47 from an infection. An infection, as it happens, that might have been prevented by washing hands. Now, most people hear this story and think the same thing. How could they be so blind? How could trained, intelligent, educated doctors look at that data, death rates dropping to near zero, and refuse to accept it? That's the question I want to sit with today, because the answer isn't that those doctors were stupid. The answer is that they were human, and their brains were doing exactly what your brain is doing right now. Here's what was actually happening. For those doctors, the established belief, the one baked into every ear of their medical training, was that disease came from bad air, from imbalances in the body, definitely not from the hands of physicians. Physicians were gentlemen. Gentlemen were clean. That belief wasn't just an opinion, it was identity. It was their entire framework for understanding the world. And when Semmelweis showed up with data that contradicted it, their brains didn't say, "Fascinating, let me reconsider." Their brains said, "Threat." This is confirmation bias at its most consequential. And here's the mechanism, the part that makes it genuinely fascinating, rather than just frustrating. Your brain processes around 11 million bits of information every second. Your conscious mind, the part you experience as you, handles about 50. So your brain has to decide, constantly and automatically, what reaches your awareness and what doesn't. It makes that decision using a predictive model, a map of reality built from everything you've already experienced and everything you already believe. Information that fits the map gets waved through, fast, effortless. Information that contradicts the map gets stopped, questioned, held up to a much harsher standard. And here's the part that should blow your mind a little. This isn't just about what you think, it's about what you perceive. There's a famous experiment. You may have heard of it. Participants are asked to watch a video of people passing a basketball and count the passes. Halfway through, someone in a gorilla suit walks across the screen, stops, beats their chest and walks off. About half the participants never see it. Not because they weren't paying attention, because their brain had a task, count passes, and the gorilla didn't fit the model. It was filtered out before it ever reached conscious awareness. And this is what those doctors were experiencing. The evidence Semmelweis was presenting wasn't just uncomfortable. It was, at some level, genuinely hard for their brains to fully process, because it contradicted the model too completely. And here's where it gets personal. Think about a belief you hold confidently right now, about your health, your relationships, your career, your politics. Pick anyone. Now ask yourself, when did you last seriously look for evidence that you're wrong? Not evidence that you can explain away, not evidence you found unconvincing. Evidence you genuinely sought out, with real openness to changing your mind. For most of us, the honest answer is almost never. Because the same mechanism running in those doctors is running in you, in me, in everyone. The brain doesn't hunt for truth. It hunts for confirmation of what it's already decided is true. And the more intelligent you are, and here's the genuinely unsettling part, the better you are at rationalizing, at constructing sophisticated, convincing reasons why the contradicting evidence doesn't count. Intelligence doesn't protect you from confirmation bias, it arms it. The people who were most eloquently dismissing Semmelweis weren't the least educated voices in the room. They were the most educated, the most capable of building a compelling case for the wrong conclusion. So what do you do with this? You can't turn the filter off. It's not a setting you can change, it's the hardware. But you can do one thing that actually works. Treat your own certainty as a clue. Not about the world, but about your brain. The stronger the feeling that you're obviously right, the harder your brain has probably worked to construct that feeling. And the more worth it is to pause, to look in the other direction, to ask what Semmelweis would have asked. What does the data actually say? Not the data that reached you, not the data your brain let through. All of it. Because here's the reframe I want to leave you with. Those doctors weren't villains. They weren't even particularly unusual. They were intelligent, trained professionals doing exactly what intelligent, trained professionals do, using everything they knew to make sense of the world. They just didn't know that the tool they were using to evaluate the evidence was the same tool that was filtering it. And neither do most of us. Semmelweis died in 1865, still largely dismissed. 14 years later, Louis Pasteur's germ theory finally gave the medical world a framework that could accommodate what Semmelweis had found. The data had been right all along. The model just needed to change before anyone could see it. I'm the bias lens. We find the filters you didn't know you had. If this made you see something differently, subscribe. Next week we're going inside the Dunning-Kruger effect. Not the version you've seen on a meme, the real psychology, and why it says something uncomfortable about the most confident person in any room.